In this video, we're going to go over 6 tips that you can use if you find yourself binged. Hey there, I'm Eli Strawman, a performance coach and the founder of SuccessStartsWithin.com. Tip number 1 is you want to pay attention to your thoughts. Now, when you get benched, this is an incredibly frustrating situation. It can be embarrassing too, and you can also get to the point where you feel angry either at yourself, your coach, your teammates, or whomever it might be. Now, when this happens, right, when you're benched, whether it's during that actual game or whether it's the following games where you are benched during those consecutive games, you have to make sure that your thinking doesn't turn to negative. Now, our thinking is largely automatic depending on the situation that we are in and depending on what has happened to us. So when we are benched, it's very natural for us to then have negative thoughts that are, focused on being disappointed in ourselves, thoughts about how it's unfair coach benched us, thoughts of negativity towards ourselves, and then doubt of whether or not we'll be able to get back out there on the field or on the court. But the truth is, when you are benched, one of the very few things that you actually have control over is your thinking. So you need to be sure that your thinking is staying productive. It's not very likely that your thinking will be too positive when you're benched, and that's completely fine. I would never ask any athlete that I work with to have, quote unquote, positive thoughts when they are benched, but we want to make sure that we are having productive thoughts. The difference between positive thoughts and productive thoughts is that positive thoughts are focused on, everything's going to be okay. It's all right that I got benched, things like that, which, would be a great thing for you to say to yourself. It's just that most often than not, I don't see that being a reality that an athlete can actually say that to themselves. But productive thinking would look like, yeah, it's very frustrating that I got benched, but I know that I'm going to work hard and I'm going to get back out there. I'm going to reclaim my spot in the lineup. Productive thinking would look like, I haven't been playing too well recently. It's okay, I accept that, but I'll learn from it and I'll get better during practice this week to try to fight for my spot again. So it's not that you're thinking necessarily positively and saying, oh, everything's fine, everything's okay, but you're also not thinking, I suck, I'm terrible, I deserve to be benched, I'll never get back out there, because we know that those types of thoughts equally will not be helping you. So first things first, we need to make sure we are paying attention to our thoughts when we are benched. Tip number 2 is to focus on your team. Now, whenever we're benched, it's easy to start feeling, down on ourselves. It's easy to have all of our focus on the fact that we got benched. But the truth is, you still have a team out there that is playing and that is competing. So you want to try to have a team first approach. This is a very difficult thing to do, especially when you ask yourself to try to cheer on the person who just took your spot. But you have to make sure that you have a team first approach. Number 1, because you don't want it to appear to your teammates or your coaches that you are a selfish player and all you care about is your own playing time. Even if that's the case, right? You just don't want to show that because it's not a good look for you to have as a teammate and as a player. But also, if you can focus on your team, if you can cheer on your teammates, this is going to have another added benefit of getting your attention off of yourself at that point. And if you are benched, especially during that game, right? So if you got benched that game, or even if it's the next game and you're sitting on the sideline or you're benched, you don't want to focus too much on yourself and the fact that you're benched, because just like I was explaining in the last tip, we need to pay attention to the types of thoughts you're having. If you can get yourself to focus on your team, so cheering on your teammates, trying to watch out for any sort of tendencies that the other team gives away that you can pick up on and then give to your teammates to help them out. If you can focus on that, it takes your attention off of yourself and helps you focus on your teammates and helping the team win instead of just being so frustrated at the fact that you got benched. Tip number 3 is to focus on what, not why. So what I mean by this is, when we are benched, it's very easy to focus on why I got benched and lament over the fact that we got benched. So this is where you're starting to go over, and think, oh, why did this happen? Why did I make this mistake? Why did coach bench me? Was it because of this or was it because of that? And so you just start overthinking the why. Now, the why is important if you're getting something important away from it, right? If you're getting something valuable like, oh, I got benched because I kept making this same repetitive mistake. But once you figure that out, it's now time to turn your attention on to what. And so the what is, what will I do to put myself in the position to get back into the lineup? You have to make this shift from why to what. And this is going to be because you have to actually be working on the thing that's going to get you back onto the field or back onto the court and back into the lineup. And simply getting frustrated and thinking over and over again about why you got benched is not going to help you any. Now, when I'm working with athletes in one-on-one coaching and they do find themselves sidelined, one of the things that we have to work on is what they can do to give themselves a chance of getting back out there. And from the mental side, a lot of times what we're working on is the what in terms of the mindset they need to compete their best, especially if they're playing with a lot of fear or anxiety, and that fear and anxiety is causing them to underperform. Which, by the way, if you are currently experiencing a lot of fear or anxiety, I have a new course that's directed toward helping you overcome this fear and anxiety, and I've put a link to that in the description below if you'd like to learn more. But if we are experiencing some fear or anxiety, we have to work on what can we do to overcome that so when you do get to play again, you're in a better position to succeed. But that only happens if we focus on the what. What can I do to improve? Don't get caught up in the why. Think about the why only to get valuable information, then focus on the what. What can you do to get yourself back out there? Tip number 4 is to manage your anger. Now, we know that when you're sidelined, right, when you're benched, you're going to be angry. You're going to be frustrated. You might be angry at yourself, at your coach, at the teammate who took your position. There might be a lot of people that you're angry at. But you have to ask yourself, is this anger actually helping me? The anger might help you to, feel that motivation to train, right? To work hard to get yourself back out there. But more often than not, this anger will be a distraction. The anger is a distraction in the moment, and it will cause you to get more and more frustrated and down on yourself. And then moving forward, the anger can be a distraction, especially if you find yourself trying to force a good performance or trying to prove somebody wrong because you do experience this anger and this frustration. We have to recognize that during sports, when we get angry, we are only hurting ourselves. And while it's very natural to feel anger when you are benched, this is something you have to work on managing. So try to manage this anger in the best way possible to move past the fact that you got benched and to get yourself feeling a little bit more optimistic about your chances of getting back out there on the field or court. And if you would like me to make another video on specifically how to handle the anger that you feel when you're benched, please let me know in the comments below. Tip number 5 is you have to stay motivated. Now, this one really ties into the idea of focusing on what, not why. A lot of times, if we get benched, our motivation can absolutely plummet, right? We just got benched. It's like the legs have been taken out from under us, and we just feel like, well, what's the point? I don't know if I can get back out there, and if I do get back out there, I'm probably just going to make another mistake and find myself back on the bench after all. But the only way that you will get yourself back into the lineup is by staying motivated. You have to continue to train every single day. Keep working on your own, right? Keep doing the little things that you need to do to improve your sport, to improve your game. Don't worry so much about whether or not you're benched or not benched. Stay motivated to improve as a player. If you stay motivated and you put in the work to improve as a player, naturally you'll find yourself getting another chance. And if you do get that other chance and you've been working on your game, you'll be in a great position to succeed. And I remember back when I was in college and I got benched myself. I lost a lot of motivation and I felt very embarrassed to train on my own like I was doing before, because I felt like, why would I train on my own if people just see that I'm benched? They're going to say, well, why is he putting in that work? He just found himself sidelined. But the truth was, I should have kept training just like I did before I was benched, as a way to keep my confidence high, but also as a way to put myself in a position to get back out there when I did find myself back into the lineup. So make sure right now, if you are benched, stay motivated and keep putting in the work. All those little things that you need to do to improve as a player. And then the last tip I have for you is don't press. When you find yourself benched, we can assume that there will come a time where you get another chance to perform. This is especially true if you've been a starter and now you found yourself benched. More often than not, coach will give you another opportunity. This opportunity might come in practice, in a scrimmage, or it might come during a game. No matter when your opportunity comes, you have to make sure that you are not pressing. What I mean by pressing is that you're out there trying to force a good performance. This is an easy thing to do when you found yourself benched, because you know that in order to get back into the lineup, right, the starting lineup, or to regain some minutes, you need to perform well. There's really no kind of going around that, right? You have to perform well in order to get yourself back out there. But trying to force a good performance more often than not leads to underperforming rather than it leading to you performing well. So you have to make sure that you don't press. And so what not pressing looks like is you go out there, you trust your training, you let go, and you simply allow yourself to play. It's very important that you've stayed motivated, like the last tip, because you have to make sure you're continuing to put in the little work so that you do trust yourself and you can trust your muscle memory when you get your next opportunity. Now, naturally, you're going to feel some fear, you're going to feel some worry, you're going to feel that need to try to press and try to force. But you just have to remind yourself that trying to press and force a good performance will only lead to stiff, intense play and cause underperforming. So as unnatural as it feels, when you get that next shot, let go, trust yourself, and try to play with full confidence and aggressiveness, because that is the best chance for you to play well and regain that starting position. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I put out new videos each week on sports psychology and mental training. And if you're interested in any of the sports psychology programs I have available, I've put links to those in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of success in all that you do.